I'm delighted to be joined by Limerick's Aaron Gillane to celebrate that Littlewoods Ireland has rebranded to Very, and as part of this rebrand, customers can go shop over 1,800 brands on Very.ie. To find out more about Very, visit Very.ie. Aaron, delighted to have you on the show. How are things with you? How have the last few weeks been since you won that All-Ireland?
Thanks a million, Shane. Good celebrations. Really enjoyed just a few days and just a week after the match. After that, then kind of back to reality, back to work on the Monday, back to the club train on Tuesday. Have one round of club championship played already, so just getting back into the swing of things there with Patrick Swell and focusing on driving on there now again.
And what was it like when you were out at the McManus Pro-Am? Did you get to meet some of the most famous golfers in the world?
It was very cool. I was just saying it there this morning. It was actually the morning after we played Galway, so the body was kind of sore and tired. So I said I'd just go back for an hour and kind of see what the crack was back there. But it was just surreal, really, following around some people that you're just used to watching on telly and seeing nowhere else. So I actually stayed there till about 6 or 7 o'clock that evening and just meeting people, and they were being just genuine and nice and talking away to us and having time for us. So it was nice to see that side of them as well.
Yeah, would you be into golf anyway?
Not really, no. I played the odd time. I played a bit alright during one of the lockdowns, alright, kind of kept us busy. But other than that, no. I know the big names of players and I know the competitions and stuff that were on, but I wouldn't be an avid supporter, no.
Yeah, did you get any selfies with any of the major stars?
There was a few of them. You put me on the spot now, I can't remember their names. I remember meeting Michael Carrick, alright. That was very cool because he would have been one of my favourite players when he was playing with United. We actually walked one or two of the holes with Patrick Harrington, and he was chatting to us about the match the day before, so that was kind of cool as well. So we're happy out with that now.
That was brilliant. And did you expect that he'd know who you are and have watched your match?
No, not a hope. No, I thought he was going to call the security or something for us being behind the wire. So no, it was nice.
And would you have interest in other sports, or would it generally just have been hurling for you?
Mainly hurling, to be fair, yeah. Would have played a small bit of soccer when I was younger. Kind of packed that in there when I was maybe 15 or 16. Actually went back there, played one Christmas after the 2018 All-Ireland. Went back and played that winter set. So it was good old crack, but we kind of had a deal, just used to come on at half time because 90 minutes is too long, so 45 minutes is ideal. And nice to try something different as well.
And would you have played with Keane underage? Because I know Keane Lynch was a brilliant soccer player, and I think he went up to Dublin, and I'm sure he would have ended up playing underage Ireland and the whole lot if he had to keep going.
Yeah, to be fair to Keane, he's just that kind of person. He could go on and do whatever he wanted to do in any sport. But I would have only played 1 or 2 years with him at Mungret. I'd say it was when he came back from Dublin. But no, just as good as he is at hurling, to be honest.
Yeah, I've no doubt there. Well, what are your earliest memories of hurling? And, was it a family thing that everyone was always into it, or is it something whereby you took up the mantle yourself?
I suppose it is a family thing. Coming from Patrick Swell, there isn't much else to do other than hurling. So the minute you're 4 or 5, you're just kind of giving hurley and thrown out there into the air and then thrown up to your first training session, and it's taken from there, and then my father would have played with Patrick Swell there for a good couple of years. So just going watching his training and listening to stories about him coming back telling stories about matches that he was involved in, about lads he played with, and it just kind of snowballs on from there,
Yeah, and was Gary Kirby and Kieran Carey some of the names that he would have been playing with?
I'd say he would have been around him a bit, yeah. But I wouldn't need my father to tell me stories about Gary and Kieran now. The whole country knows the two lads, and even watching back old clips there and matches when they're on TG Carr there a couple of years ago, what the boys have did when they were playing for Limerick and Patrick Swell, it speaks, it's testament to both of them. So no, they were great role models growing up.
Yeah. What's your earliest memory of hurling?
Good question. Earliest memory is probably not that young, but I'd say the one that sticks out in my head is when we went to 2008 Fela. It was on up in Kilcormac, Killahey. So it would have been Diarmaid Burns' age. I actually think Diarmaid was the captain. So myself and Keane would have only been 11. Diarmuid was centre back, Keane was centre forward. I'd say I was the water boy. I was never good at any good to no one, but no, just like memories like that stick out, and just how enjoyable an experience like that was. You know, you'll always remember stuff like that.
You're after reminding me of a story. Did you stay with Keelan Kiley when you were up at that? Because I think he told me a story about you and not liking the lights off at night.
Genie. Yeah, I stayed with him. I don't know if I want to hear that story. No, it's probably true, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, he dropped you in it with that one. At what stage did you start to, I suppose, make a bit of a name for yourself, even locally, get called up to county teams and so on?
I suppose would have always kind of been in around development squads, going in at under 14s, 15s. I would have mainly been on B panels and stuff. I'd say when I was maybe the end of when I was 16 or 17, maybe, you know, kind of, it was the age where you could legally play adult hurling with your club. So obviously, like anyone that has a bit about them, like your goal is going to be to play with your senior team in your club, first of all. I know that maybe wasn't the case straight away. I spent a year there playing with the juniors, so I learned a lot in that year. Definitely toughened you up a small bit playing with some of them lads. And then kind of just want you to get a taste for playing adult hurling, and everyone's giving you little nuggets of advice about where you can improve and what to work on. You know, you kind of put that into practice with one goal of actually reaching the senior team at Partick Swell. And after that, kind of everything just took off. Got in with Partick Swell, started, what year was this? In the 2014 or 15 maybe. So got a few games under my belt there. Started to find my feet a bit, get a small bit more confident. Then our free taker, Jack Kelleher, got injured. Actually, funny story how I got injured, but I ended up taking the frees. Gary came to me and said to take the frees. And then
how did he get injured? I need to know how he got injured.
Oh, it's just funny. We were kind of messing with each other some night, or one night myself and Jack were messing with each other. And whatever way he went to hit me in the back of the head, but he hit me anyway, and he broke his thumb off my head. So I ended up taking the frees for him. Yeah, we kind of kicked down from there. Then that's why I ended up taking frees.
Were you a free taker at all before then, like at your own age group or whatever?
I would have taken them probably from under 12s up to 16s, because like we would have had very low numbers. There would have been no one else kind of up to the age apart from me and Keane. And if you know Keane, like he'll never ever stand over a free. So I kind of had no other choice but make an attempt at hitting a few of them. So I would have had a small background in it, but nothing major.
And why wouldn't he take one?
I don't know, and I wouldn't mind, like, if the men tried, he'd be just as unreal as him, like, so I don't know, he'd prefer just to be kind of, he'd be messing and slagging and trying to put you off, or he'd let out no roar there when you're trying to take an important free, you know, and then he'd start laughing when everyone else is giving out you. So I don't know why you wouldn't take him, to be honest.
Would you ever be nervous taking a free 82,000? Does it bother you at all?
I wouldn't really, to be honest. No, I wouldn't kind of be focusing on the crowd that's there or who's there or who's not there. You know, I kind of focus on 3 or 4 steps that I always go through before taking any free. So that's my top process. I'm thinking of nailing the steps that I usually do rather than thinking about the consequences of the free or who's at the match or how many people are at the match, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something I'd be curious about before. What size hurley do you use?
Size 33.
It looks like a spoon in your hand.
I don't know, is that because I have a long grip on it now or what? But no, I've just been using that. Obviously, you come up through the sizes as you get taller and older, but I kind of stuck with that since I'm about 16 and just haven't decided to change.
Really, yeah. And like, I would have thought that maybe it's about not getting hooked or something like that. So it's nothing to do with that. It just feels comfortable.
It just feels comfortable, yeah. Genie, I don't know, to be able to swing a longer hurley now, to be honest. It took me too long to get used to it, but no, it's doing the job for me anyway.
Yeah. So, you know, in the last couple of years, as you're getting more notoriety and all that, and, you know, those tip games the last 2 years when there's all this talk about, oh, should you have got a red card this time and that, does any of that stuff ever bother you, or do you just ignore it and truck on?
I wouldn't say it bothers me, no, to be honest. It's not for me to be worrying about, you know. All right, that day blowing Perky Queeved was probably a bit stupid. I would have had no complaints if it was a red card that day, you know. I just lost the head there for a second, but that's no excuse, you know. That's just not acceptable. But that day in the Gaelic rounds now, I wouldn't have agreed if it was a red card that day, because like the ball was there, and if you can't go for the ball, sure, we're at nothing really. But I know it probably looked bad, and when you can slow everything down on the camera and stuff, but no, I'd say a yellow card was even a bit too. I don't know. A yellow card's probably right. A red card would have been too much, in my opinion. Yeah.
And is it something that, like, do you see all the analysis of this afterwards and the slow-mos on, you know, for example, the Sunday game and whatever?
I wouldn't look at it intentionally, no, but sometimes if I went onto Twitter a couple of days after a match there, something might pop up, but wouldn't take no notice. I'd probably just laugh it off, to be honest, or smirk away to myself.
Yeah. So I remember a few years ago, well, I seem to remember a period where you used to drop the hurley an awful lot. There was one game against Kilkenny 2018. It just used to seem to spring out of your hands. What do you think was happening back then? It doesn't seem to happen so much. Well, it happened once in the All-Ireland this year and you kicked it over, but what was happening?
I wouldn't say I dropped it. Like, I didn't think like I'd go out and catch the ball and drop the hurley and try and kick it in. First of all, I thought it was people pulling the hurley out of my hand, but I was like, this can't be happening every single match. So I actually sat down and watched back a few of them clips, but I kind of came to the conclusion that whatever way when the ball is coming in the air, whatever way I use my hurley to play the main, then the hurley must just get tangled up in something and go. And sometimes it's just better to leave go of the hurley and go straight towards the goals rather than leaving your man hold your hurley and, you know, a goal opportunity could be gone. Now, in saying that, I'd say I've only kicked one goal ever, so there hasn't been that many goal opportunities. But no, it's something I've kind of concentrated a small bit more on, getting a better technique when going up for the ball, and obviously you're going to be more dangerous with the hurley in your hand rather than the hurley is 20 yards behind you on the floor.
Yeah, and another thing that maybe this is just the way every player evolves, but you seem to be finishing low into the net now. In the past, it used to be high ones, but like, if you think your 3 goals, or well, you definitely got 3 goals this year, 2 against Tip and 1 against Cork. You're finishing low where it's much harder to save. Is that something that you thought about?
I'd say so. Yeah. Like, even what you said there says enough. Like, 3 goals this year for hitting them all low. Like I said, I barely got 3 goals over the last 3 years just from trying to like roof the ball into the top of the net. You know, it's just about being clever, I suppose. Even talking to the likes of Nicky or someone at training, like, he always says that a ball that's bouncing in front of you is way harder to save. I know it might look a bit better if the ball goes into the top corner, into the roof of the net, but like, at the end of the day, two of them were 3 points, you know.
Yeah, I just do a quick Q&A, which you can answer them as short or as long as you like. They're only fun sort of questions. What do you remember your first time ever being at Croke Park?
Henry Shefflin batting the ball over Brian Murray's head, 2007 final.
Okay, who's your favourite player of all time?
Dan Shanahan, without a doubt.
Why?
I don't know. He could just play half forward, full forward, win any sort of ball that would come into him, and yeah, just like him.
Who's the most famous person that follows you online?
Genie. It's Conor Murray.
Conor Murray, too, not bad. Who's been your toughest opponent and why?
I would have to say probably Cathal Barrett. He's a little tiger, like, you know. If you want to play hurling, he'll play hurling. If you want to mix it up, he'll mix it up. So yeah, he has it all to be fair.
The team you most like to beat, club, county, college?
Team I most like to beat, I would probably say Ballybrown club. Just okay. two teams in one village.
Yeah. What's your proudest day playing GA?
Proudest day playing GA. Genius, what did I say? Apart from any of the All-Irelands, I would probably say 2019 club county final. It was just a bit special with myself playing, Jason playing, and my father as a selector, so that was a nice one.
Who's been the biggest influence on your career?
Outside the normal ones like family, some club coaches, I'd probably have to say Paul Kinnock.
Okay, and what's the best atmosphere you've ever played in?
Best atmosphere. Strangely enough, I'm going to say the All-Ireland final in 2021, because we weren't used to the crowds being in the stadiums all that year, and I know there was like 40,000 there that day, but it just seemed like the roof was going to blow off the place.
Yeah. And favourite stadium?
Favourite stadium. Well, outside of, like, obviously Croke Park is the best. I'd probably say Nolan Park in Kilkenny.
Right, okay. Who's the joker on the Limerick panel?
There's a few, but I'd probably go with Kyle, I'd say.
Okay. Who's the best trainer?
Also, probably Kyle or Will Budden.
Okay. Best dressed and worst dressed?
Best dressed. Graham Mackay, he's sharp now. He's a cool dude, to be fair. Seamus Flanagan wears dodgy stuff sometimes. But sometimes he pulls them off, but sometimes I don't know.
Who thinks that the women loves them?
Kyle.
What player from another sport do you admire?
Player from another sport, I'd probably go with Lee Keegan from Mayo.
Yeah, he is brilliant. What manager from another sport do you admire?
Alex Ferguson.
And then a final question: what's the most unusual job you've ever had?
Job. I got a strange one there a couple of years ago. A fella inside in town, he owned apartments, and he kind of wanted people to stop coming in off the street there in the night time. So I think he was going to pay me, was it 90 euro for 4 or 5 hours just to sit inside the door and not leave no one in. So yeah, that's up to been weird enough.
That's not so bad. Aaron, absolutely brilliant chatting to you, and hopefully we'll chat again soon.
Thanks, Shane.
Okay, so that was brilliant chatting to Aaron Gillane of Limerick and Patrick's Well there. A reminder, we've got a live show coming up every Thursday. We've got our club preview heading into the weekend, patreon.com/OurGame. So make sure that you join us there.